Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this match reaction. After 6 games, Chelsea win 3-1 against Wolves on the night. Lots of positives, lots of negatives to talk about as well. Make sure you're smashing the like button, subscribing if you're new here as well. Let's run it up as much as we possibly can. I need to just check my audio, actually. Is it on the right audio? Yes, it is. But yeah, lots to discuss, guys. Lots to get into. Smash the likes, share it out, and let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for this match reaction to the game against Wolves at home. Chelsea finally winning an important game, heavily important game to put us back in fourth in the league right now. Man City obviously behind us by 2 points now. We've got them next. Lots of injuries. A very unusual lineup. Just an unusual game. But there's lots to talk about, and I want to kind of start out the opposite way around today. I want to talk about the positives and then go into some of the negatives as well, because for me there was still quite a lot of negatives in this game, and there's a lot of worries that with Man City round the corner as well, that if we can't get this team up and running and get some of these players back and fit, and there's question marks with it because, he talks about us not needing midfielders. Well, today we had KJH and Caicedo. We're going to talk about that a bit more in depth. Chalobah on his return. What a performance. We're going to be talking about him as well. I've just seen the Vlahovic news. Apparently Chelsea are inquiring for Vlahovic. This is true. I just see this about seconds ago. I don't know how serious it is, but we'll find out sooner rather than later. Over 100 people in the building. Keep smashing the likes, guys. Yes, Paul, we're going to talk about that. Maresca treating Nkunku badly, Felix badly. Players that could possibly change the game. I still agree. I think there's a lot of question marks in how we play today as well. But we're going to get into it in a second. I want to do, like I said, I want to look at the table. Obviously, we're sitting in fourth again. All on the same points. All in the same games other than Liverpool. 44 games now. Obviously, we've got the one win in. So we're 4 points behind Nottingham Forest and Arsenal at the moment. We have a 2-point gap between us and Man City and Newcastle as well. Obviously, Bournemouth also in there as well with Aston Villa as well. And obviously, we've allowed that to happen after the last couple of games. But this was a must-win game for Chelsea. We had to put the points on the board, and it was going to be very important that we got it done. And we ended up getting it done, Trev walked back into the team like he felt left man of the match. Everyone knows my thoughts on Trev. I think there's a lot of the fan base there, and I'm probably one of the minority that was very not upset, but annoyed that we allowed him to go, because to be quite honest with you, in my opinion, when we look at what we already have in the team, he's better than what we have in majority, in my opinion. Now, I know he does have bozo moments in him as well, and this, that, and the other. Don't get me wrong. But, for me, he shouldn't have left, basically. He shouldn't have left, and that's where we go first, because we are going to talk about positives. And today, Chalobah was named man of the match in his first performance back since being called back from Crystal Palace. I want to know your thoughts and feelings in the chats, guys. How did you think his performance went today? For me, I thought he was awesome. He could have had a goal if midweek he didn't decide to be so greedy as well. He's defensive. Joe is for me with him. And even before he even left, yes, he has a bit of a moment in him. Yes, like the others do, and I understand it. But I trust him more. I trust him more than Disasi. I trust him more than Badiashile. I trust him more, maybe a little bit more even than Tosin, even though I thought him and Tosin done very well today. Him, Tosin and James, all three of them, I actually thought done quite well today. I had no problems really with our defence. My quarrels are not really with our defence today, again. But Trevor Chalobah in isolation, as soon as the game started, control, playing off the left, which is not his natural position, outside of the footballs into Neto, down the wing, who incidentally just mucked things up, which we're going to talk about a bit more again, but overall blocking, the amount of blockings he done, reading of the games, the danger, and that's the big thing with me for him. Most of our defenders, they don't have that danger in their mind. Oh shit, be careful. Like what's going on in the box? Where do I need to position myself? He kind of has that about him, and this is why I was annoyed about him going. A lot of people were like, well, yeah, it's all right. We've got this and we've got that and we've got this. And I'm like, no, but he's missing the point. He was probably our best defender after Thiago Silva left, in my opinion. Easily our best defender. Yeah, what a performance. Good. And we want to see the long may it continue and long may it go on as well, And I think he does start. This moment in time, he will be starting games for us, and he needs to be in this team. He needs to. But him, and also, obviously, we'll go to the next person as well. Guys, please make sure you're smashing the like buttons if you can as well. I'd massively appreciate it. Reece James as well. Reece James registered more chance creations too, more successful take-ons too, and more passes into the final third, 15 than any other Chelsea player against Wolves. James also registered 100% on his successful tackles, 3 out of 3. What a performance. And do you know what? In a moment where I look forward to the day where we just have the whole team fit. James, Lavia, Enzo, whoever, do you know what I mean? Like all in the team again, because it's just his timing of when he's turned up has been so impeccable and important right now, because with the injuries that we have at the moment, to have him coming back into the team, when you look at that team lineup today, it just helped us massively. And he done very well in his natural position, played in sort of a 3 at the back with Tosin and Chalobah on the ball, and obviously a 4 off the ball as well. The way he picks balls over the top, the way he, just bullies wingers off the ball, the way he does everything. When he's fit and he's firing, there's no one in the world that can replace him for me. The issue is keeping him fit. Him, Fofana, Lavia specifically, these are the type of players that we have problems with. But again, positive is he played very well. He came off, got more minutes in his book. We've got Man City next. We're not looking good with the injuries at the moment as well. He is just very important. He's just very, very important. It is what we're trying to do. And yeah, long may it continue, and long may we keep looking after him as well. Kepa signed Costoro Martinez. I mean, we're going to talk about the goalie in a second, because again, this is part of my negativity speech at the moment as well. But I also want to obviously talk about, again, we mentioned Tosin. I thought Tosin had a good game again today. I think he essentially done very well. Aerially, he done very well. He got his goal as well, which was very, very important. Yeah, it was good. It was very, very good. Before we go to any other, before we go on to the negative topics, which I want to talk about in a second, I want to quickly just fly into what Time Sport have just spoke about here. Chelsea considering a move for Juventus striker Dusan Vlahovic after they have held talks to offload their defender Renato Vega to the Italian club. I want to know if you guys are happy with the idea of Vlahovic being an option at our club. What does he bring? Well, he brings a natural striker, a striker that can score goals. Different types of goals as well to his game. He wouldn't be my first answer, and he wouldn't be my second answer. But in this moment in time, going into the next 6 months, we could have Vega go out on loan, and we might even get him on a loan for 6 months, a bit like the Sancho thing. Come to Chelsea, play well for the last couple of months of our season, show us what you're about, and if you help us get to where we need to be, which is Champions League football, maybe we will look to keep you. But that doesn't mean that he would be our main striker, in my opinion. Still. But at this moment in time, I think we can all sit here and say, and we're going to get to the negativity parts now as well, that we need more than Jackson. We need more than Jackson. We need more than Jackson. And the good thing with him, he's a goal threat. In the box, he attacks danger. Jackson don't for me. Jackson don't. And at the moment, he's in horrible form. He can't seem to shake it off. And he just needs to sit on the bench for a game or two, I'll be honest with you. He has to sit on the bench for the game or two. But we can't afford to do that with him, because we haven't got anyone to come in other than Mark Yu. And Maresca keeps showing us, as fans, that he does not trust his bench. He still doesn't trust his bench. We thought he trusted his bench before these 6 games where we've been losing and drawing, because he was utilising it. And Nkunku, Felix, Vega as an inverted left forward, switching Reece James with gusto when he could, giving people minutes here and there. But now he's not doing it anymore. He's just not doing it anymore. And he did make substitutions today, and we're going to talk about that. And this is where we go on to what I call the negatives. So let's talk about that, because the first one we're going to talk about of today's game, the negatives of today's game, Even though we won, and I'm happy we won, don't get me wrong, it was an important win for us. There's just still too many things that we need to talk about for me. And one of them still and is always going to be this guy, because as bad as we was at the end of the second half, he just can't seem to not do something which just fucks us. And he wasn't even tested. This Wolves team that we was up against today was the worst team out of the 6 games that we've played, in my opinion. The worst. The worst team out of the 6 games that we played. These were the worst. They were not good. I'm sorry. And we gave him a goal again. And it's him again. Him again. And I don't understand it. I just don't understand how a goalie does what he does. What goes through his mind? You know the ball's swinging in. What's the most normal thing to do if you don't catch it? Punch it. Put your fist through the ball. Knock it to Rose Ed. Like he did on the second chance after the goal. They had another corner after they scored. And what did he do? He punched the ball. But again, he keeps showing his incapabilities to be able to be relied upon when we need him, even when we're not playing well. And we wasn't playing well at the end of that second half. For about 15 minutes, we struggled. 15, 20 minutes, we struggled. And he didn't help us. And he just can't help but just have that moment in him. Bozo gene just kicks in his head. Oh, let me just do something stupid. Let me just do it. I can't help it. It's in my blood. It's literally in his blood. It's just, he is not a Premier. For me, he's a Premier League goalie, but he is not a top 6 goalie. He is a goalie that should be mid-table, probably bottom league, and he will continue to be that person. He's just not good enough. He's just not good enough. Honestly, he's not good enough. But there was more to this game other than him. There was more problems to this game other than him. And I think we need to talk about, do you know what? Where we're going to go next? I'm going to go to the manager. I'm going to go to the manager before we even go on later, because we're going to do a play rating in a second as well. I'm going to go on to the manager. There we go. This man right here. We need to talk about him briefly, because yes, we got the win today, and I'm happy. We found a way. We found a solution. Was I that annoyed with the setup? No, because I thought the setup made sense with the amount of injuries. No Enzo Fernandez, no Lavia in midfield. He's in denial response to say that we don't need any midfielders. Why? Why would we need to bring Leslie back? Why would we need to bring Santos back? Why? I don't know how he can look at it in such a shrewd way that no Enzo and no Lavia and just Caicedo, who's getting run into the ground again, by the way, and nearly got injured, by the way, twice. And it worries me, because every time he goes down screaming on the floor, I'm like, we're going to be in trouble. Yeah. So only have KDH, who had just got back from fitness, who's been injured, to come in the midfield is not acceptable. In my opinion, is not acceptable. And as well as he's done for a long, a good part of the beginning of the season, and he done very well with utilizing these man management skills, he's now showing me a lot of naivety in his decision making and confusion. The naivety to use the January window to not think about bringing back a midfielder. You brought back Trevor Chalobah. Why? Because we had no Fofana, no Badiashile, and no Levi Colwill. So what was the answer to you bringing back Chalobah? Obviously, because we've got injuries and we need players in that position. But as soon as we start talking about the midfield, Lavia, Enzo now out for a couple of weeks, he says, supposedly. I hope that's not a hernia thing, by the way, because that's going to be a big miss. We're shorter in the midfield than we are in the centre backs, and we just lost two of our main centre midfielders. And my man's sitting there telling us we don't need to recall anyone or do anything. You think we're going to go to Man City with KDH and Caicedo? With KDH and Caicedo in our fucking midfield? Are you mad? Are you dumb? Are you mad? You think we're going to go to Man City with Caicedo and KDH, being told that Enzo's injured as well for a couple of weeks, and Lavia, God knows, he's not even said again. Like, that's the first thing for me. The second thing, this attack is so stale right now. It is killing me. Our wingers are awful. And I know Madueke created the goal. Yeah. The only good cross in the whole fucking game. The one good cross we had in the whole fucking game. Yeah. Into Cucurella. But him and Neto were ass. Butt cheek ass. Butt cheek ass. Yeah. And you know what was even more worse is that a lot of our attacks today came on the wings. Because we had no Enzo Fernandez in the middle, we couldn't play through the middle for him then to use his passing ability to create for us, you know. So we had to solely rely on Cole Palmer, who had to drop in deep to receive, beat a player or two, which he did do better in the second half, by the way. I thought Palmer was a bit meh in the first, but the second half, he definitely turned up for me in many ways. And, you know, he kept playing the ball out into the right to Madueke. Madueke's one-on-one with his guy, gets into the box, either makes the wrong pass or just loses the ball completely. And then on the flip side of it, now, all right, he didn't receive the ball as much as Madueke, but when he did, and he was driving, he didn't beat his guy. He must have beat his guy once or twice, max. If that, he lost his ball. He lost control of the ball, and it was crap. And they both stank. And this is not good enough. Sancho came on, and I thought we looked better. Sancho on the left for me is much better anyway. And then you got Felix and Nkunku sitting on the bench, and it goes back to this guy again. It goes back to this fucking manager, because you're sitting there 75 minutes, and then you decide to make a decision. Okay, so I'm going to go and bring on Disasi, who's leaving the club, Gusto. Okay, who else did he bring on? He brought Felix on, and Felix. Yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So you go like. And this is the bit that confuses the fuck out of me, yeah? That it confuses the hell out of me. So you go, right, and make a decision. Oh, 1 second, I think it adds his ear as well. You go and make the decision to bring on Gusto and Disasi and Felix. All right, you took Palmer off. Cool. But then you go and play Disasi right back, Gusto left back, and Cucurella in the midfield. How did you even get to that point? How did you sit there and go, this is how I'm going to line my team up? So you put two players out of position completely. Two players. Gusto and Cucurella. Because Cucurella goes out from left into midfield. Who's seen Cucurella play in midfield before? Yeah, and then you go and put Gusto left, and you put Disasi right. The most easiest thing, and Dubs, this is the thing, right? The most easiest thing he could have done with them substitutions, Gusto right back, toss in Disasi, Cucurella, Chalobah move into midfield, sit in DM. Guess what? Chalobah's played there before. I'm not saying he's amazing at it, but it makes more sense. Chalobah's sitting with Caicedo, and then you have everyone in their natural positions. Then that means you've only got one player out of position. This guy, he decides he wants to play two people out of position completely. 3 people out of position completely, sorry. Because he plays Disasi right back, who is shit at right back. Cucurella in midfield, yeah, trying to running up and down, trying to do things. And fucking Gusto on the left. What are you doing? And this is what I'm getting at. His substitutions were poor, and then he brings Felix on at the 80th minute, or whoever it is, on the 80th minute. You know, I don't understand it. I genuinely just don't understand the decisions that he's made today. And yes, I'm happy we won, but I still think there's a lot of negatives to be said. Ads, if you cut off again, use the second link, yeah?
Yeah. I don't want to jinx it, but I should be good though. Touch wood.
Um,
What you
I
saying, though, bro, man? You can't flipping the press, my brother. We just won a game. Yo.
no. I spoke about the positives. I mean, the minor positives. We win in the game. We scored. We killed the game off. Chalobah was a positive. Tosin was a positive. Reece James was a positive. But then it stops there for me, brother. Then it stops there for me because I weren't happy with the substitutions, which is where we're at the moment. And this is what don't make sense to me, ads. He brought Disassi, Gusto on, and Felix. He put Disassi right back, Gusto left back, and Kukure in the midfield. You move 3 players out of position, out of complete position when we're 3-1 up. Yeah, and let's be serious. For that period, we didn't look comfortable whatsoever. We just lost control at that point. When you could have just put Gusto right back, Disassi with Tosin in the middle, Kukure left back, and just played Chalobah in the DM role next to Caicedo.
You could do that. I think generally, and I do hear most of your complaints about, like, and I've been listening to the last 10 minutes while I set up, and I do hear most of your complaints in terms of the again, obviously the lack of options we have for a start, and then how we utilize the subs. Right, I get it. You have most of those players out of position, all of them, in fact, out of position. But in the case of Disasi, you're not going to put him into centre back because we have 2 centre backs who are performing well. Usually, managers don't like to tinker with centre back unless there's something off. But like you mentioned, both of them were 2 of our best players, or
Oh yeah,
best
by
performers,
far.
I should say. They were 2 of our highest performers today. So yeah, I'm okay with the Disasi going right back again. We needed to get James off that pitch again. Any minutes over what he needs to play is too much. He has to come off that pitch early, so that's fine. Then, yeah, I hear it. Cuckoo on the left and Gusto right centre mid, which is where Dewsbury Hall played. And obviously, we'll talk about KDH later. But yeah, I didn't necessarily like that we had a left-footed guy in right centre mid the whole game, and obviously that happened with Cuckoo being there. But who would I prefer in midfield? Just point blank, period. Cucurella or Gusto? For me, that's clearly Cucurella. So I understood those changes. I thought Cucurella actually looked okay in midfield. He did enough. He did his job to a decent degree. Yeah, I think we did lose control. Not lose control, but like, yeah, they naturally had a bit more possession. For me, they had more. They had more. For me, they had more possession, and they tried to, like, obviously they're 2 goals behind, so they tried to throw more at it, and we just tried to be more defensive. I think we lost some of our attacking impotence at that point, but for me, the changes were fine. Maybe the timing of the changes could have been either earlier, or you could have done something different. But in terms of when he made those 3 changes, I was happy with how he set them up on the pitch. It just doesn't look good because it's not ideal. It's not ideal to have a fullback in centre mid, a centre back at right back, or a right
I
back at
just
left
thought
back.
there was
That's
too
not
many
ideal.
players that. I just thought there was too
But
many
with
players that.
the options we have, I think that's, for me. I don't mind that. Was there better things we could do? Sure, but
I didn't like
I
it.
wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have changed Costin and Chalobah though. Again, our centre backs are performing well. Like you said, Trevor was man of the match, so I would have moved him outside of where he was man of the match. I wouldn't
I
do
just
that,
put
especially
him
when
in
he's
front of
not
the
that good.
defence. That's what I
Yeah,
would
but
have
he's
done. I
not
just
playing
said, Tom,
DN.
can you stop playing that? But that's
The
what he
thing about what you
brings,
mentioned, though,
versatility. He's
but he
versatile.
brings
He can do.
versatility. But right now, he's played
Yeah.
centre back in the back 3 most of the season with Palace. He's come to us playing back in the back 4, playing centre back. Cool. And yeah, we know for us, he's played centre back quite a lot, and sometimes right back. But to move into midfield, the brother hasn't played midfield in years. And I get your moans about the players being out of position, but Disasi has played right back a lot this season, so that's comfortable for him. Gusto's played many minutes at left back this season, so we get that.
Yeah, but it's
Cucurella
just wrong.
hasn't played
Yeah.
midfield, but he's inverted into midfield a lot, into that same position where he was. So for me, I wasn't that mad at the subs, to be honest. I wasn't. Again, there's a lot of things to
So we
complain
moved.
about today, and we'll get into it, but the subs for me, I was okay with.
Well, look, I'm not really like. I mean, we will do a very quick player rating, but I'm more concentrating on players, specific players. I think we're just talking about them as we go along. But I want to talk about the wingers because I spoke about it a bit earlier. I don't know if you heard me, and I just said Neto and Madueke were butt ass cheeks, barring that one cross that Madueke done, which was a very good, the one and only very good cross into the box. My man, how many times did he receive the ball off the right? More than Neto, to be fair, to a degree. Crashed the box and just completely lost it, or just made the wrong pass to no one. And that happened constantly, especially in the second half. Yeah, it was breaking down again. to Madueke. Yeah, the only time where he did look effective was the one where he whipped the ball in and we scored, and there was one moment in the second half where he cut inside and he took the shot and it went straight at the goalie. Yeah, because he made some space for himself. But he takes too long on the fucking ball, ads. Too long on the ball. Yeah, that's my biggest criticism of him. I'm all right with him running at people. I love wingers that run at people. Got no issues with it. But just make the right decision after. Don't overplay it. You know, and that's his thing for me. And we had people crashing the box today in moments. You know, there was like Kukurea in there, there was Jackson in there was Neto coming in the back, there was Palmer on the edge of the boxes. And then you go onto the other side, yeah, and my man didn't beat his man once, I don't think. Maybe once with one cross. You know, and that was even worse for me watching Neto. But I don't think he was as much involved as Madueke was, because I thought we played a lot more down the right than we did the left. But then you saw Sancho come on the pitch, and automatically we just looked so much better off the left. You know, in the link-up play, in the dribbling and whatever. But the attack is letting us down massively. And as much as it's like this, there's no blame on the defense today, by the way. And we'll talk about that bozo in goal as well, like in a bit. Yeah, but when it comes to the attack at the moment, mate, Jackson's not firing, and he needs to be benched for a couple of games, but we can't do it. There's talks about us getting Vlahovic just come out in the Times with a swap with him for Vega, because Vega wants to go Juventus apparently. Yeah. Cole Palmer, I thought, was better in the second half than he was the first, so he grew into the game, in my opinion. But sticking to the attack, lads, like, what do we do? Because we're just not firing, mate. We just don't seem to be firing.
Yeah, the attack is in the pits of hell right now, to be honest. Thankfully, again, like I said, we won, and there were some decent things from the attackers, but for the amount of possession that we had, for the threatening positions that we got into, there was not enough made of it at all. And that is very disappointing, again, given the amount of money we spent on this attack, especially the left winger, who I will get onto more specifically. But let's start with the left winger, right? Because for me, again, Jem, you can answer this as well, actually, instead of me answering this. How many threatening positions do you feel like Noni got into over the game? Yes, there were many that were poor, but how many threatening positions do you feel like he got into, or actions, roughly?
I think he held the width better, which means automatically every time Palmer beat his man and he played the ball out to the wing, he had more space to actually be direct. He made that space for himself. Does that make sense? Like, he's making that space for himself to be able to run to his man. But with Neto, not a lot. Not a lot.
And that's my point. Again, this brother cost us 65 million, and his impact on the game is minuscule. It's minuscule. And how is that acceptable for a guy of his standing against his former team? And it's like, show me something. Because he was the guy, he was Cunha before Cunha. He was like that guy everybody's hyping up, he's looking quality. When he moves to a big team, they're going to see the levels go up, his numbers are going to naturally go up. No, he's got Wolves numbers. He's got, in fact, numbers worse than his last season at Wolves. Way worse. And how is he doing that in a better team that has more possession, that's attacking more, dominating games more? It's appalling. And the way I compare Noni and Neto in Chelsea terms, is, to me, they're Willian and Pedro. But in their later years, when they were poor, when they were having poor seasons, for me, Noni's clearly Willian of the two, where for me, he does a lot of bozo-esh things on the pitch. And for me, there's a lot of things which frustrate you as a fan. These are things that after, again, you remember when you banged the wall or the table, or you threw a drink or something because you did something that was just so boneheaded, so stupid.
Yeah.
A bad touch, a bad decision, takes too long, this, that, and the third. But at least with Noni, there's a threat. The fullback on his side is going to feel like, you know what, there's a threat. I'm in danger here. I need to do something. And Noni, as much as there were many bad moments, there were some good moments. And I'm not even, okay, he scored. I'm not going to be like, oh, he scored, so there's GA. That was just, he tapped on line.
He just took Chalobah's goal, didn't he? Let's be serious.
Yeah, and he also affected my FPL questions. I needed my captain Palmer to give me something. Obviously, we'll talk about Palmer's performance later, but obviously he got me no FPL points, really. But, yeah, so at least with Noni, there's something. Again, I don't even count the goal, but at least there's a threat. He's taking on man, he's making things happen. With Neto, again, it's like Pedro, when Pedro was bad. Because Pedro, he wouldn't do much in a game. He would just go through a game. But because he's technically quite clean, he doesn't do as many bad things. You don't go, oh, Neto, what was that? You don't do much of that. He just does nothing. And for me, I can't have an attacking winger give me nothing over 90 minutes. Again, I'm glad he got hooked. I'm glad Sancho came on and gave us some link play on the left and actually some threat at times when he drove into the box. But we know that's not his natural game. But we know with Noni, his natural game is to be a threat and be attacking. We just need him to refine his game and actually make better decisions, which right now we're not seeing. But it needs to buck up soon because, again, I'm not going to get it from Neto, so Noni needs to give me that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm like you. I just keep thinking about that Elise fucking shit. And just look at
Bro,
what
every
he's
time I
doing.
think about it, it's horror, bro. It's horror because Neto has given me absolutely nothing to be excited about, and it's a shame because when I saw the signing, I was still a bit like, I wish it was Elise, but you know what? He's not bad. He's a attacking winger. He's a threat. He's got pace. He's direct. But I'm not seeing
No,
other than the pace. I'm not seeing the rest of the package. Again,
I'd have,
people, and I'm
yeah.
one of them people. I say that if we bring a natural striker in, he'll look better. I still think that's the case. But why is it Noni hasn't got a natural attacker, but yet he's putting in some crosses that actually affect the game? Neto, you're
Yeah,
missing specialist crosses on both sides, and I'm not seeing that.
and it's very weird because he had moments on his today on his left where he's more comfortable because he isn't having to cut in. He can just literally just dink it in, right? And these balls were just going straight over Jackson's head and out for goal kicks. And I'm like, my man, the one thing Neto's usually good at doing is just them moments there, just playing the right ball in the box, for someone to attack it. And he wasn't doing that today for me, and it was really, really poor from him. I agree with you. I like Neto. I've always liked him. I think he's a good player, but at this moment in time, he just isn't it at the moment. I don't know what's going on. What it is, or if it's just because we're in a bad rut and he's in that rut with it, and we're just not, we're not moving. But we need someone to step up, man. And we talk about step up. I mean, let's quickly talk about Cole Palmer before we go back on to player ratings. I thought he was good second half. I thought the first half he was a little bit in and out of the game, but the second half, my man was, without the Enzo Fernandez in the team today, I think you saw it. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think you saw it because what we were doing more today was just wings, attack from the wings, get the ball and just play it out to your wings and then try and drive in lots of crosses and trying to attack the box. We couldn't play through the middle as much. The only chance we got to do that was when Palmer was dropping deeper to receive the ball, beat a man, and then he would play a ball into Madueke or Neto. Do you know what I mean? The wings, but his first eye to look for a pass was always. Am I here?
Yeah, I think you've
Am I
frozen.
still here?
Trying to check if
I'm
I don't think
frozen,
I
eh?
frozen. Yeah, it's you that's frozen. Yeah, that's mad. That's mad. Looking at Sanchez before the
Okay,
goal,
no,
bro. Just doing nothing. Yeah, I think you're back now. Yeah,
yeah. Can you hear me?
yeah, you're good now. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. So it's just one of them where it was like, he was using. I thought he was very good. I thought he was creative wise. I thought he was very good. He was looking to always make the right pass, play the right pass in the second half, and he was effective. And there's a lot. When you look at Palmer in the last couple of games, he's not really been that. We've not really been able to utilize him to the. He hasn't really been utilizing the best of his abilities to help us get through moments. But in the second half, we needed him to step up a bit. He kind of did. But I'm just worried with him and Caicedo specifically. The way they're all getting clamped in this game, I was just thinking to myself, no more injuries, man. No more injuries. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I'm glad we can highlight a Cole Palmer performance that isn't, you know, about GA. Again,
Yeah.
there's a certain right winger at Liverpool where it's only about GA, and if there's no GA, there's no performance to talk about. But with Palmer today, again, it was a slow start because they really compacted the midfield, and like you said, we had to go wide a lot. And I think that was also the tactic today: is to get the wingers in space and then let them do something. And even though they didn't do much, eventually we got something from that. But
Yeah.
certainly in the towards, I say the middle of the first half, and then definitely second half, I think Palmer definitely stepped up. He definitely started to make more incisive passes, just to actually give us more thrust in the midfield. And this was not happening before that. And again, big credit goes to him today because he was without Enzo. He was obviously our main creator in chief. And we will talk about Caicedo's performance today, but I think in terms of like who's actually given us offensive midfield actions that are of a good quality, it was only Palmer that was actually helping us to progress the ball, even if it was to
100%.
dribble, set
He's
up
the
a
only
1-2.
player.
It was even
Yeah.
improved when Sancho came on, and then there was that link up play because Neto offered no link up with Cucurella and Palmer before that. But Palmer again, big up to him for the second half because he did step up, and even for the Noni goal. Obviously, him and Tosin had like a long talk before the free kick, but it seemed like whatever they talked about worked because and then he put in a beautiful little like dinked ball into Chalobah, great header, and obviously Noni takes away the assist. But again, I'm just happy to see Palmer affect the game past half time because most games, again, certainly past the hour mark, his performances just drop off a cliff. But today, No, he stepped up when we needed. Again, him and Caicedo, I'll be honest. Him and Caicedo, they really stepped up second half when we needed them. So I was impressed by that.
And that takes us into our actual player rating, where we can start talking about some of the other players. And what a way to start it, with Robert Sanchez doing. Do you know when he done that? I just laughed. I actually laughed at the TV when it happened because it was that bad. That was like Onana level shit the other day. So bad it was. Like, my man from a corner goes to catch a ball, and you can't even, like, a couch was saying he got pushed a bit and whatever. And I was like, nah, man, you went like that, you catch the ball, and it just slips out your hand right in front of the Wolves player, and then you dive at it because you realise you should have just punched it. Because if you look after that, after they scored, they had another corner. Same thing happened again. The ball come in. What did he do? He punched it. He knocked it to Rosette with a punch. He could have just done the same fucking thing. He was in control at that moment. If he can't catch it, he should have just punched it. But he goes to catch it.
That comes down to decision making. That comes down to
yeah, but it goes. But he still could have caught that comfortably because it went into his hands. Like, he literally had it in his hands. He just let it go.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you, but I again, the thing that just screams in my mind is decision making with this guy. It's always decision making, and again, that's what separates good players from bad players. Guys who have the bozo gene to guys who don't have the bozo gene as much. They more often than not make the right decision. And with Sanchez, it's extremely jarring. It was tiring to talk about this guy because I'm like, it's the same thing over and over again. But now it's to the point of, no, I actually hate seeing this guy's face. And I never try to make it personal with players because I get it. They're doing their best for the team, blah, blah, blah. It's nothing really personal. I'm sure they're all great people in real life. But again, they're paid a very handsome wage to perform at that elite level for one of the biggest clubs in the world. Again, this is the Premier League highest standard of football. So you're judged at a high level. And especially when you came here as the guy who got dropped from Brighton. You were Brighton's second choice keeper under De Zerbi. You got gifted with an opportunity to be here, and for some reason you're trusted 2 seasons in a row pretty much to be our main starting goalkeeper. And my goodness, I mean, you dropped the ball last season, which is why Petrovic benched you, but again, you got given a second opportunity now, and right now he's got the second most errors leading to goals. He's got one of the most errors leading towards shots on goal. There's times where he makes mistakes and we're bailed out, but today he wasn't bailed out because that mistake was, again, horrendous on so many levels. Because, like, when I mentioned the bozo gene, that doesn't mean that Sanchez is just a completely bad goalkeeper. Like, he does some good things. He can make some good saves. One of his biggest strengths, believe it or not, is actually catching the ball, like relieving pressure from crosses and corners. Usually he's good at that. Again, and you would expect that for a guy who's 6'5". But on the go, I mean, my goodness, it's just embarrassing. Like, the decision to start where he started, and then you're because he started in such a bad position, you're moving towards your own goal, so you have to punch it unless you want to catch the ball and go into your own net with it. So why are you trying to again catch it? And he's like, oh shit, I can't catch it because I'm going into my goal, so I have to throw it. And then he drops it in a shit position. And ridiculous. I'll give him a 2 out of 10 because even his passing at times as well was poor. And again, it's just the nervousness that this guy gives you. It's just.
I just don't really have much more to say about it.
They have blood on their hands.
I'm a bit like you. I'm getting sick of this guy. He's a Premier League goalie, but at the bottom part of the league, he's not a top 6 goalie. Until they open their fucking eyes and realise this, we're going to keep having the same problems, right? The guy's not going to continue. He's not just going to disappear from these bozo moments. He just can't help it. He's just not that guy. Like, and it really pisses me off. But we need to move on, and I can't bother to keep talking about him because he's just. I'm a bit like you. I can't bother to look at his face. It just does my head in after the while. Do we need to say much about Cucurella? I thought he was poor the first half, better in the second. To be quite honest, I don't know if you agree with Cucurella. Thought he had a bit of a stinker the first.
I mean, my only thing is there were people saying, "Oh, he might be like up for man of the match." Hell no. He was horrible first half. Yeah, part of that is because nowhere near man of the match. Because for me, again, horrible first half. Again, I'm not going to blame it all on Neto, but the lack of relationship between him and Neto just stank the left hand side, and Cucurella was making so many poor passes out of play or under hit, not linking up with Jackson or Palmer at times. Just like, what was he doing? It was awful. And then defensively, just meh. But we had a lot of control first half, so it was what it was. But second half, I think he made less mistakes, but it's just he scored, and that takes up his rating a bit. So I'll probably give him a 5 because it was a good goal. I'll give him a 5, and also I thought when he went into midfield, he was just like he was solid enough.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'll give him.
I don't
I'll give him a 5. But the goal, he took that very well, and he needed that. He needed that big time.
Firstly, get him out of this kit because he's not ever going to be in that kit anymore. He's going to be in that blue kit, you know. But it's man of the match. You know, listen, I don't really want to go into one about it because it's only his first game. But to come back in your first game and play on the left side of the centre back, which ain't really a natural position, and perform to the level that he did. And do you know what I like about him? Do you know what it is when I talk in the chat about him, even before when we let him go, and I was annoyed. You know, I was annoyed about Chalobah going. I didn't want him to go on the stage because I trust him more than the others. That is literally it. And I know he's got a bit of a moment in him. He has them moments. They all fucking do. But he just knows his awareness of danger is just so much better. How many blocks did this man make today? Literally blocks, throwing his body in front of the ball in the, you know. And I actually thought him and Tosin had quite a good relationship in this game. They kind of played well with each other, which I was a little bit worried about. He gives us a threat from corners and free kicks, which none of the others do, because he does. I think in the first corner Reece James got, he whipped it in. Chalobah flicked it onto the back post where Jackson tried to do that stupid, don't know what it was, a semi-bicycle kick. You know, that landed to Chalobah flicking that back onto the back post. You know, and then obviously for the goal, where Madueke took, that would have been his goal if he just left it. He ran into the back of the net. But forgetting all of that, he's natural in this system because he's comfortable, free at the back. He's used to it. This is what we're saying. Why we get rid of a player that is actually suited to Maresca's system? That was the big question mark before we let him go. And there's nowhere in hell anyone can tell me, Don as well. That's why I added Don. Yeah, that the Sassy, Badiashile, Tosin are better than him. Maybe even Colwell to a degree. I'll be quite honest with you. I don't look at any of them as like, I don't look at any of our centre backs and go, he's up there and the others are there. When it comes to Chalobah, like Chalobah's not down here where they're there. Chalobah for me is better than some of the ones we've got already, and maybe just below Fofana to a degree, in my opinion.
No, I hear that, and it's funny because it just feels like deja vu. Like it just feels like a conversation we were having April, May, when Chalobah was in the team after a long time being patient and whatnot, but he got into the team. This is pretty much after like the Carabao Cup final, I believe. They started to break into the team, became pretty much a regular, and he entered the season in really good form. And you would have thought that would have earned him a start, or well, a place in the squad for preseason. Man didn't even get trusted in preseason. And again, when I talk about I don't make things personal, 100%. Again, when I talk about I don't make things personal in terms of the players, but I do look at their personalities. And with this guy, I thought this was just a case of really good karma for a guy who was ostracized in preseason, banished to play with a youth team, disrespected in many ways for guys who didn't have the experience or they've come to the country for a year but aren't playing well, or for Fofana who had spent the whole season out injured. Trevor, who actually ended the season in best form, was then sent and banished and disrespected in such a way, but he still never made a big fuss about it. He didn't throw his toys up the pram. He did his thing. He actually played well with the kids, and he got his loan move and he went. And I thought that was going to be his career done with Chelsea in that time, but fair play to him. He loves the club so much, almost too much in a sense, but he's come back, kept his head down, not made a big fuss about it, and he's dropped, arguably, if not for me, man of the match performance as well. I think I do agree, to be honest. There weren't many top players, top performers today, but he was quality defensive. He made some really good blocks, played out at the back quite well with certain passes. Obviously, a great header. Again, defensively, we talk about his aerial ability isn't great, but lately in the box, he's actually been more of a threat in the last couple of years.
That's what I'm saying.
It's something that we need, especially in games like this where it's a bit dirty, a bit grimy. You need that. So, yeah, respect to him, and I'll probably give him an 8.5. Solid debut. Last thing I wanted to mention, this just shows what a new player can bring you. Again, we saw it with Josh. Not that he was a new signing, but when Josh came into the lineup and he was a man of the match against Palace, that just sorry, he was up there. I think Sanchez might have been man of the match, but he was up there. It just shows what new players can bring you. Now, why we don't want to go and sign a new player early in this window when we have injuries is another conversation. But Trevor, big up to you, brother.
Funny, and we're going to get to the midfield in a second, Ads, but isn't it funny that we have Badiashile, Fofana, Colwell all out injured, and all of a sudden we have to bring Chalobah back because we're down in numbers. But when we lose Lavia and Enzo, our boss's answer is we don't need any midfielders because we have Lavia and Enzo. Yeah, we do, but guess what? They're not available. And guess what? Our midfielders, if you look at the numbers of midfielders compared to the numbers in defence, there's a lot less in midfield. And your answer is we don't need
defense. We have actually really good depth. We have actually really good depth in defense. Not for
Yeah, we
quality,
do.
but there's a lot of depth of like guys who can play centre back. In midfield, there's literally 3 men who are natural in like the pivot. There's only 3, which is ridiculous.
And the mad thing is, the players that we're looking to bring back, like we've done with Chalobah, Leslie's performing very well at Southampton. Santos is performing very well. These are players that will come straight in with high confidence and probably give us something we haven't got at the moment, a bit of a boost. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In position. 100%. I just don't understand it, mate. I don't understand our manager sometimes. But anyway, Tosin, you know, he got a lot of stick when we first got him because people were like, yeah, he's not all that, he doesn't play. Man scores goals, man. And listen, he needs to show Jackson how to finish properly at this moment in time, because man, the way he controlled that turn, spun, and put it into the corner, good finish, man. He again won all his physical duels against a very tall, strong ball striker. I can't remember his name. Didn't do much, but he was just a lump, wasn't he? Basically, comfortable on the ball. Looked comfortable next to Chalobah. He looks happy in the middle of a 3 at the back with James on the right and Chalobah next to him. I thought that looked quite solid, to be quite honest with you, the 3 of them. I like Tosin. I even liked him when we signed him. I said I like Tosin, but for me, Tosin is just that guy that you just bring in when you need that depth, you know, and you can keep the quality levels near enough there. Like it's not a massive drop. Do you know what I mean? He will come in and do a job. Do you know what I mean? And he's showing it right now for me.
No, 100%. 100%. I completely agree. I haven't got too much to say on Tosin, but defensively he did his job, which isn't easy against someone like Larson. He's very physical, but no, he defended the box well, made some good blocks. Okay on the ball. I don't think we definitely lacked Levi. Just being in the back line to punch certain balls into the pockets between the lines. But again, for what you need a centre back to do primarily which is to defend, he did that. And again, he took his goal extremely well. I mean, the first touch, that's not easy. And then he obviously sent the keeper the wrong way. So again, good finish. So probably would give him a 7.5 and say again solid. Like he was solid even before he got dropped. I thought he was fine. He lacks some things on the ball, but overall, as just a box defender, he's good at what he does.
100%. And then it goes on to this man. And I was saying earlier on, it's a shame we don't have him back when everyone else is fit. But you know what? I'll tell you what. By God, his timing of coming back at the moment has been so important to this team.
Yeah,
especially with these injuries. I'll tell you, because this guy's performance today, in his natural, again in the position that he's comfortable in. There was a stat on him. I need to bring it up. By the way, Chalobah was first in. Where was it? I had saying it for Chalobah actually. Where is it quickly? Let's come out of this before we go to James's one. So we had this on Chalobah, which I thought was pretty impressive as to why he got man of the match. His assist level was 1. His chance created was 1. His interceptions was 1. His clearances were first, and his touches were first today. So that goes to why he was man of the match today. But it was one for Reece James as well, where he won 3 out of 3 all of his duels. He had like a high percentile for crosses, pass creations, all this stuff, everything. It was just an overall really good performance by Reece James with the ball and without the ball. And listen, he's not your typical leader. We know that. He's not someone that shouts and gives us all that leadership qualities. But my God, his quality and talent shines on the pitch when you're lacking quality. Do you know what I mean? When you need someone to just get in there and do their job and do things tidy and, you know, do the things that we need him to do. He just seems to do it very well. And for me, he was a solid 8 out of 10 today for Reece James, easily.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It's great seeing the captain back. He just offers something different to the whole team. Like he's willing to take a risk playing from deep to play a long ball into Jackson and behind, or one of the wingers in behind. He's not afraid to like take the ball under pressure, draw a foul. I mean, even though us as fans are nervous seeing him do that because we're like, just don't take the hit, like don't get injured again, please, Reece. But he's brave. He does things that others aren't willing to do, and that's what we need in a captain. That's what we need in the player. And he even takes the shot that leads to the first goal. So like, this is just a top player, man. And I keep saying it with people that like they're quick to write him off, they're quick to say, "Oh, forget about James. I'm acting like he doesn't exist anymore. Sell him in the summer." I'm like, guys, you just have to be patient. I get we happen to be overly patient with him. And you're one of these people, Jem. To be fair, one of these people who say, "Oh, just get rid of him, forget about him." But and I hear why people. I hear where it comes from because you've seen the guy not play for months, seasons, pretty much at this point. But
availability is key.
One thing we hold on to, it is key. 100% is the best ability by far. But one thing I always hold on to with Reese is whenever he comes back, even though he doesn't look like 100% Reese, he looks even a bit overweight or whatnot, a bit sluggish. He still always performs. He still always shows you moments of top quality. So,
Yeah.
and you're not ever seeing him come back and then getting skinned straight away. Like that doesn't happen to Reese. So, for me, the
He's
only
just
time he had a bad comeback was the red card against Brighton, which is just a moment of madness. But other than that, every time he's come back to perform, he's performed well. So again, I'd give him an A as well. I thought he was quality. We just need to keep the guy fit because he's a game changer for us at right back, and that's rare in world football.
I see Don call you out about a certain player here not being on the left recently. He's I
Listen,
saw that.
I've been so happy to not talk about this guy recently because boy, he stank as well. But at the same time, when your 65 million pound new winger is performing like trash, and it
Yeah,
makes you think, oh, could Modric give you something similar? It's bad, bro. It's really
yeah.
bad.
Moises Caicedo, not the greatest first half. On his own again in the midfield. Just, I don't even know what to say at this point. We're running him to the ground. We're burning him to the ground at the moment. The guys, when he went down with his knee, I literally just went, we're finished. If he's injured, we're finished. Like, we're generally done for the season. Because when he went down screaming, I was like, no. Man gets up. Man didn't have a good first half, but the second half, he just found these levels again, intercepting, winning balls, winning them second balls, the first balls. You know, he had to be careful because he was on a yellow as well. You know, and there was moments where he's got a habit of just going into tackles. You know, and I was a bit like, oh no, Caicedo, don't get sent off. We need you for Man City, man. But he stepped up in the second half. I agree with you. Palmer, James, and Chalobah were our best players on the pitch right now in the second half. I think. But he just goes to show how important he is because without him doing what he's still doing, it could just be so much worse for us in the midfield, to be quite honest with you. You know what I mean? Especially with the way he covers the grass and gets about and, you know, does put in a tackle and tries to win the ball and tries to transition us up the pitch. I felt a little bit sorry for him because when he got the ball, it's like he was looking for Enzo just like on his left where he could just play that ball, you know, and he's like looking around and I felt sorry for Palmer because Palmer had to drop so deep to help him a lot of times. And I don't want to talk about, we're going to talk about a certain KDH thing, but this guy, this guy definitely was not doing too much to help him, especially on the ball. But yeah, listen, look, Caicedo, I'd give him a 7, probably a 7 in this game for me. But yeah.
No, 100%. I agree fully. I agree fully. I gave Tosin a 7.5. Maybe I might take that down to a 7 because I don't think he was better than Caicedo. But no, I agree fully with your assessment just because yeah, Caicedo first off, it went great. And it's the levels below his performances a few weeks ago where he was almost performing like a one-man midfield at times. And that was even when Enzo was playing good. But the work Caicedo was doing, covering the whole midfield area, winning pretty much every duel. I think it was the Brentford game where it felt like every time there was a second ball in midfield, Caicedo was there every single time. Whereas now you can see he's starting to look like just a normal midfielder. But that's a normal midfielder without his midfield partner. Because again, we'll talk about KDH in a minute. But again, he stepped up second half though. He made some good interventions, was decent on the ball. A couple of times drew some fouls. We didn't necessarily see him like drive through midfield like he was doing a few weeks ago, but I think that just comes down to tiredness and the lack of rotation that this guy has got. He's not had the Conference League to like just rest him midweek. He's having to play 2 games a week, 3 games a week sometimes. So it's been tough on him. You can see him and Palmer aren't 100% at all, but he stepped up when we needed him, and that's what we need our big players to do. And he's one of those. He was the second captain on the pitch today, and he performed like that. So again, 7 out of 10, big him up. And listen, he cannot get injured at any point in this season. Otherwise, it's game over. It's game over.
Fucked. Let's talk about KDH. A good assist.
Let me start actually. Let me start because I know some people are watching thinking, oh, Jem's gonna go off on one because he's replacing his boy Enzo and we can't do anything without Enzo and it's gonna be an Enzo love fest. And I hear it to a degree. I was watching KDH being like, listen, bro, you must perform or Jem's gonna cook you. But man, he didn't perform. He did not perform. And let me get the positives out the way. Let me get the positives out the way, right? And I'll start with saying that technically he's cool on the he's fine. He's more technically efficient than a Gallagher, let's say, right? And he works pretty hard off the ball. I'll give him that. His defensive intensity is pretty decent for someone that is naturally attacking midfielder. And Maresca, I don't think he played him in the best position. I don't feel like if he's going to play in midfield, he should play on the left, where he can
I agree.
play
I do agree.
a bit more in his natural position. Because when he was on the right, having all this cut inside to get his left foot on the ball and make things happen, it don't suit him in this system. It don't suit him.
And he kept running into Madueke spots when he wanted to cut in. If you noticed, like he kind of like didn't give him that space. Yeah.
And maybe the last positive I can say is that I think part of it was tactically that he didn't get involved as much in the build-up because he had the least touches of our midfield by quite far as well. But like tactically he was almost meant to just be like a right forward where he would run a lot in behind and like draw the fullback in so that Noni would have a bit more space, which is cool. But he offered nothing on the ball in terms of actually getting us into attacks, trying to create. There was none of that. And like defensively, cool, you work pretty hard, you run a lot, but you don't make the tackles that I want from a midfielder. You weren't even making the tackles that Enzo gives us, and Enzo is always criticized for his defensive ability. So, boy, this was not good. This was it's one of them like quiet stinkers, like a Neto performance. It was just a quiet stinker. Like he did nothing other than the assist. You'll give him that. He crashed the box, got a little touch on Tonani's cross, which led to Kuku getting the goal, which is great for my FPL, by the way. So I needed that. Thank you for that, KDH. But boy, it was not good. 3 out of 10. I'm trying to be nice. That was not good.
I don't want to be too harsh on him because he just got back from injury as well. Poor guy had to just play straight away. Do you know what I mean? Against Wolves. Don't get me wrong. It's like he hasn't played many Premier League minutes as it is. You know, he's getting called into because we haven't got anyone. I ain't gonna crash it on him because I just know that he's just not that guy anyway. I just know he ain't that guy. Like, and I agree with you. I think off the ball he does give something. He got stuck in. He tried to help Caicedo in moments further up the pitch, win the ball and like be effective. And I saw him, and I do think he was hard done by, or say, got done a little bit by Maresca with the whole playing off the right, not the left. So I think he's better off the left because he likes running into that left space, doesn't he, in front of the winger. But he's just so average. When I watch him, he's a bang average footballer. He's just bang average. Like, there's nothing good about him. Like, there's nothing. He hasn't got any outstanding ability. That's what it is for me. I don't look at him and go,
and that's
he's
where
really
where he's a.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you on, but again, I think that the slight delay, but that's where he's a downgrade on Gallagher because in the right system, he could be an upgrade because again, like I said, he's technically more proficient. But again, you're right. No outstanding attributes. Whereas with Gallagher, you can say the dog factor, the fact that he'll get stuck in and win the ball and hustle. That is actually a very good trait of his. And we've missed that, but we don't have that in Jude Hall at all. So we're missing that from what Gallagher brought us. And then on the ball, if you're basically doing like the third man runs and you're not involved offensively, then we're lacking a lot. Because like I said, second half, Palmer was the one making all the forward thrusting passes and dribbles in the second half. Dewsbury who offered nothing other than the assist where you crashed your box, cool, but you didn't give me anything. And you weren't even that player at Leicester because I watched a fair bit of him, especially when he was in the Prem.
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's got goals in his game. He can drop a shoulder and do things. He's not Maddison, but like he's got where he can make things happen. But boy, in the Chelsea shirt, you haven't seen much of it. He's just looking like any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's not good.
He's one of them players, and I agree with you. Gallagher would have been good today, by the way. And I never want Gallagher back at my club. But in this type of game, where you just need someone to just run around with Caicedo and just break up play and then get us moving, like Gallagher would have been good today just because of that. But
literally. But the last thing, that's why I wasn't mad at Cucurella going into that role because all that role today, where Dewsbury provided was just running and crashing the box, and then maybe being a bit, giving some work off the ball. Of course, Cucurella could do that. So it wasn't a big change to me because KDH gave me nothing.
Do we need to talk about Madueke, Palmer, and Neto again? I don't think we do we? We've kind of spoke about it, didn't we?
Talk about them as a collective and rate them as individually, but collectively. And I mean, I could start with this and just say Neto. I have to give you the lowest rating. If I gave KDH a 3, which is probably harsh, I got to give Neto 2, maybe 1.
2.
Because what's bro doing? Like, what is bro doing? He's doing nothing for the team, man, and it's disappointing because again, Noni will always be the one to get more stick, but Neto just does way less.
I think Noni had more of the ball than Neto, though. Yeah. Like, we played more down the right.
Yeah, Noni had 55. This is who scored, by the way. So I don't think they're super official, but they give you a rough estimate. And Noni's 55. Neto was 29. So yeah, you're right. Noni had a lot more. He also played a few more minutes as well because Noni got hooked off earlier. But
Yeah, exactly.
so Neto got hooked off earlier. But nah, man, Neto it's not it, bro. It's not it at all. So I'll give him a 2. Noni, his general performance is like a 5-ish. Like it weren't great. There's a lot of bad moments, but there was just more good. But again, little things like the silly offsides or pressing by himself and just making it so easy for him to be beat. Like all these like very like I wouldn't even call it low IQ. I would just call it inexperience and naive moments. I just don't like seeing. But I can't be surprised when these are the type of players that these directors target. But yeah, that wasn't good. But again, he at least tries to be a threat. He at least every now and then puts in a dangerous cross, and he sniffed out a goal even though it was already going in. So like, I'll give him just a 5.5. I want so much. I want so much.
He talks a very good game about. I watched him in an interview. He's like, I know I'm really good at what I do. Yeah, I know you. Like, you have all that confidence. I love all that. Like being confident about who you are as a player. But boy, you're not consistent, bro. Like you are not that guy yet. Like you think you are. Like, when I watch him, like you're just not that guy that you think you are. You're good, and you can be better, much better. But he just. My biggest problem with him, and I will continue saying it, is he crashes the box, and he either takes the extra touch he shouldn't take, or he makes the wrong pass. When we've got 3 or 4 people in the box, he'll make the wrong pass, and he does that too much. And the difference is, you put Elise in Madueke's position today, attacking that box. Can you imagine? Man would have either been scoring off the left, or he would have been putting it on someone's head most of the time, 90% of the time. That were a big guy on someone's head, because that's just how good he is. You know, that's the level we need. We need Madueke to get to, but I just don't know if Madueke can get to that level. I don't think he's that level of type of winger. You know, we have to see. What about Sanchez when he came on as well? Do you think he had a good little? Yeah,
because I haven't got anything else really to say on Palmer, but Sancho, just decent, probably a 6 out of 10, decent. Came on, gave us some much needed link up here on the left. We actually saw much more of Cucurella and even Palmer in that sort of triangle on the left. That was nice. They had some nice little link up and whatnot, helped us control the game a bit, which is good. And then he even attacked the box a couple of times, got into some dangerous areas. He set up a good chance for Jackson as well. I think that was the only chance really created for Jackson that wasn't offside. So that was good. So 6 good impacts, which he needed at the time. So he's coming, and he obviously. I'm glad he was like rested. I'm guessing this would be him being rested for today rotation, because he has to start against Man City. If he have any chance against Man City, boy, he has to.
We need Sancho. We need Sancho. We need everyone on their top of their game, and that's really hard to say. And I'd say we save the best for last. We always save the best for last. Always. The gunman, the ex-gunman. The man that knew where the goal was, to the man that now doesn't know where the goal is. Nicholas Jackson.
The man that had the best shot conversion in the Premier League at one point.
He's just, I don't really know what to say, because I feel like with him, you could just rewind what me and you were saying the last game and just play it. That's how I feel with him. Because for me right now, it's just bad form, and Maresca just not having it, or not because he doesn't trust his bench, won't play Guiu. We know that he's not trusting him. He's just playing a guy that's in bad form and hoping he's going to turn it around. And this is 6 games now, lads. 6 games that this man has been played into bad form, and he's not getting any better. By the way, I'm not seeing any, even in his movement. What did he do good today? Dropping deep. I didn't see him do anything good today, dropping deep.
Not as much, no, and he wasn't as good as he was against. So you say it was the same. That was the same things we're saying, like he was against Bournemouth. Yeah. I think he was worse than he was against Bournemouth, but at the same time, he also got less chances created for him. But he obviously created less. It was pretty much a low block today, which is different, right? Bournemouth came out and pressed us. Wolves did the opposite, which is why the middle was quite congested. And that's why we need a different type of striker with Neto and and a whipping. So that's why I felt for Jackson. Yeah, we do. And again, we've been saying the same thing all season. Why didn't we buy a striker in the summer? Why didn't we buy a striker now? We're not going to use it.
Also, when you've got a 5 at the back walls, because you know that they're waiting for you to get to the box, and that's when you need someone that's got this in the box to be able to get on the end of it.
Listen, our side force is like my shoulder right now, but it's handicapped. It's not working out 100%. Like we got a man up there who is not a box striker, but we're playing him there. And again, in terms of things he did well today, he worked hard, he ran hard, he didn't look as tired to end the game, but obviously the game's ending, and I just know he's not going to offer much of a threat. He did a nice bit of skill that led to the free kick, which led to the Noni goal. Cool, but like the moments are fleeting. But I don't expect much different out of him because again, I feel like he's being let down mainly by the club for not buying a replacement for him or a backup for him at the very least.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's been let down by the manager because okay, the club haven't bought anybody serious, but they did buy a striker in the summer. They bought Gee for 5 million, and he's not being even utilized. Like, bring him off the bench for 10, 15 minutes. Why can't Jackson get a rest? He's not flipping prime CR7. Like, it's madness. Madness. But yeah, I'd probably give him a 5. He worked hard, but you know, it is what it is. The one chance he got, I wish he had a left foot. If he had a left foot, it would just make things a bit better, more acceptable of him as a striker because the shot, he lets it come across his body to his right foot, but you open up your body, but you're not facing the goal. You're facing here, so the shot's going to go here, which is wide.
He's just not a striker. And by the way, Central C was at the bridge again tonight, and he's Sanchez kit. He's orange Sanchez kit. That's even worse. He's just not. And this is why the Vlahovic talk's coming out now. Well, who can we get to scramble for now to just get? And listen, it might be worth the fault. Vlahovic coming to Chelsea. Vega wants to go Juventus. Just do a straight loan, like we did with Sancho, and just say, look, if you can perform in these next 3-4 months and give us what we need. Listen, I haven't watched enough of Vlahovic, but the one thing I know about him, he is a box presence, and he's a much more of a box presence than Jackson is in these moments. He's strong, he's cool, and he will get on the end of things. That's just Vlahovic, from what I know of him. You know, it's just is he part?
He's the profile.
I don't. You know,
he fits the profile of what we need, right? Because again, he's one of the guys I mentioned last year. This time last year, when I was mentioning guys like Taremi, Mateta, Vlahovic, a certain Forest striker. When I mention these guys, I'm talking about obviously the physical gifts that they can bring to the team, which Vlahovic can do, but he's not in the best of form. Again, Juventus are 20 games into the season and they're unbeaten, but they've drawn like 13 games. It's mad. And most of that because their attack is just not killing off games, winning games. And Vlahovic is a part of that, so he's not in the best of form, but would I take him on loan? 100%, get him in. I would have took him 1st of January. By I don't care. Like, I'll take him 100% because we need that. We need something. So if getting, and again, I want this ability to be loaned because I don't want to sign him or Tell. But if we get Vlahovic and Tell in, use that to then loan Vega to Juventus and then sell Nkunku to Bayern, I take it, man. I take it.
I think Tell will bring us goals off the left that we ain't got. And I think Vlahovic will give us goals in the box, in the area where we create a lot and we're not able to convert. I think he'll maybe give us that if he can find that, that buzz form. 17 matches, 7 goals isn't the greatest. 16 was better the year before, but then it's half of his games. He's not firing in all cylinders. He's not like Corez. I mean, Osimhen probably level, nowhere near that. But listen, it's at that point now where we need something.
Its numbers is just under a goal every other game, which is okay for a striker. Like 1 and 2, it's just under 1 and 2 for both seasons. So that's decent. You expect that if not better for a team like Juventus, but it also makes sense why they're trying to offload him because if he was doing great, then they wouldn't be looking to sell him. So yeah, I'll take him.
Listen, we move on to Man City over the weekend. Obviously, it's 3 a.m. here where I am at the moment, 3:15 a.m. and I'm sitting here doing this for you guys. You know what I mean? So it goes to show the commitment to be here, proper Chelsea. Whether I'm at home or I am back in the UK next week. So normal times again, man. Looking forward to it. But listen, the most important thing is we've got the 3 points. We're now sitting 4 points behind Forest and Arsenal. We've got that 2-point gap on Man City. That game against Man City is even bigger now because if we can win, that gives us a 5-point gap on them. A big 5-point gap that we need right now. I don't know. I think it's going to fall down to who's fit, who's available, and all of that malarkey. The one thing's for sure, we are doing a match reaction to that. Whatever happens, we will be here to talk about it, whether it's good or bad. I don't know, Ads. I don't know. I'm just happy we won today. That's what I'm going to say. We're happy we won.
Killed the game. I mean, the thing about this game is that it was one of our worst performances of the last 6 games. Again, discounting like things like the first. Everton was quite dead, right? Cool. Second half against Fulham wasn't good. Things like Palace last 20 was bad. So there's been like moments in games which are really bad, but in terms of like the overall performance, I think we played some of our least attractive football today compared to like games that we drew and dropped points. So I'm just happy that we won. We scored some ugly goals. And how much have I been saying?
And they were the worst team out of the 6, in my opinion.
Are they as bad as Ipswich?
I don't know, but I'm saying in terms of how we play, how we played against them compared to the other 5, they were easier in terms of they had no real goal threat. The others had goal threats at points in games. I didn't feel that.
Only a threat from corners. You're right, and obviously, again, defensively, they just look to like be a low block and frustrate us. Which again, we've seen teams do that and get success against us. So that's why I'm happy that we got the goals today. And again, you've heard me say many times over the last couple of weeks that why can't we score ugly goals? It always has to be a pretty 10-pass move.
Yeah.
But today, a shot that deflected the toss-in goal. Second goal from just a cross. Second phase. Cucurella scored. Third goal set piece. So sometimes you need that. Again, I hate Arsenal, but I've watched a lot of them this season, and when they're playing bad, they will still sometimes just be able to get a set piece goal. Which
corner FC, isn't they? Them lot. That's what they do.
And sometimes, and listen, you don't want to be reliant on set pieces, but sometimes we need set pieces just to open up the game. And today you did that. We still didn't play great, but at least we got the job done. We got 3 points. Hopefully, a confidence boost heading into the Etihad because we need that. Because
and we
were obviously reviewing that. Form, a result against big teams hasn't been great, but if we can get, I'm not even here to talk about perform well and get a draw. Forget drawing. I'm not trying to draw against City, especially the City this season. Yes, they're confident, but we can beat them if we turn up. Am I confident? No, because we've not been playing. We didn't play great today, and even when we play good in other games, we don't get the job done. We fade second off, and you can't afford to do that against City, who are
maybe this is the type of game that gives us a bit of a fire out our bum, and hopefully we can get Enzo back or Lavia, and we got obviously James is in, and Cole returns maybe as well, and then we're looking a little bit more like shapy. Then we go from there. But the one thing's for sure: if we're going to beat Man City, we've got to get that attack's got to wake up, because we can't be doing what we do in the last games. We need to wake up, because we will have chances. We always create chances against them, loads of chances. We just do. They play so high up. They play into our advantage.
100%, because of how they play, it opens up the game for us, and I think certainly they're suited to playing against us. And defensively, they're scoring more goals now, but defensively they're still shaky. So we have chances to score against them. I think our young and quite naive team, they naturally play to the level of the opposition quite a lot, because our record in big games isn't great, but generally we always perform against the big teams. Liverpool we performed, Arsenal we were pretty decent, Tottenham we battered. We won't talk about United, but the rest of them, even City first game of the season, where it was a bit like we were in the game until Kovacic scored a screamer. So I expect us to perform. It's just the result, bro. The result could be anything. So
I think it all falls down to who's back. And if we go into that game with a Caicedo, KDH, then I ain't got nothing else to say. We'll just see what happens. But listen, guys, smash the like, share it out. Big up to every single one of you. As always, thank you for jumping on, bro. I appreciate it, man, as always. And I'll probably see you tomorrow, right? I'm doing a show tomorrow, so I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? Big up, guys. Take care. See you later. Peace.